The Easter Jeep Safari concepts have been revealed. We've got a lot going on out in Moab, and we're going to talk some local Jeep news. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we wanted to get this video out just as soon as possible. While we can't physically be in Moab, Utah, we've got a lot of friends out there with some amazing shots, and also we've been able to see the concepts from here at home. Jeep has posted them up onto their YouTube page. They posted all the photos up, and we can see that this year there are 4 concepts. So let's talk a little bit more about what each one is, as well as how that's going to translate into the future of the Wrangler. We've seen this before in the past where Jeep will take concept vehicles out to Moab, test them out, show some new features on them, and then sometimes they turn into production, and other times these things are just crazy and they're meant to show what Jeep can do. Now, right away off the bat, I will tell you that I've noticed less concepts than there typically is. I think last year there were 7 or 8 different concepts, and that's kind of been the almost standard every year is 7 or 8 concepts. This year there are 4 new ones, and while that's less, I think it does pertain to kind of the current state of the economy. They're selling less Jeeps, there's a little bit less going into the marketing budget, and honestly, if it probably weren't for the Easter Jeep Safari thrown on by the Red Rock 4-Wheel Club, Jeep probably wouldn't be there physically. They also mentioned about a few shows that they're going to be pulling out of, but this is a lot of expense for them to go out there. Now, one of the first concepts that we saw is not really related to too much we talk about on the channel, but it's a Grand Wagoneer that they've actually codenamed the Vacationeer. So that's kind of interesting, and I think it's kind of a cool play on words. But this one is kitted up for overlanding. You can see the Wagoneer concept in there. I'm not sure what engine is under the hood, but it's probably either the 3-liter Hurricane or the 6.4-liter. Not something that we're going to talk about crazy in depth today, but that is one of the concepts that we saw out there. Probably the more important piece of that concept is the paint color in which it's finished in. Let's go into the next vehicle, which is the Jeep Willys concept, which is a 4xe with the exact same paint color. That was something that Ryan noticed, and I thought it was a little bit interesting that they used the same paint color on 2 of their concepts. It's a retro, it's almost like a turquoise blue color. Ryan, what do you think? It's like a turquoise. It looks a lot like an old school Chevy Bel Air with the white roof. Like it's that kind of, they said they went for like that 50s turquoise blue aqua color. Very, very cool looking color. But on the Willys concept, they did a little bit to this to make it look like an old school Jeep mixed with a brand new one. So they added on the front of it, looking like some C-channel front and rear bumpers, very reminiscent of the old Jeep. A worn M8274, and it's actually a brand new 8274 with synthetic line. That's almost a winch I've been debating doing if we go to a certain bumper, but those are the classic winches, and they offer 2 actual motors, and that's why they can spool so quick. So those are really neat to see on there. One of the engineers also said they rip off the headrests on most of their concept vehicles and just reupholster over them to give it kind of that low back bucket seat, and this one was done in a distressed leather, and there was almost like a kind of different fabric on the inside, so it looked very cool on that. But another thing that I kind of liked is there was some 36-inch single track tires that were super narrow and reminded me of the old Willys Jeeps. But that color is kind of very important to us. So are they going to come out with a new color? And if so, is it going to be this one? Because we've now seen it in not just 1, but 2 vehicles for the concept. The other one was a project done on a 392, which looks like it was based off of a 2024 392. And from what I can read, they actually didn't lift it at all and were able to squeeze on 42-inch BF Goodrich crawlers. That is an absolutely massive tire. I can tell you, just with my 40s, that is hard to fit even with a 3.5 lift kit. It's got the custom fenders, a custom see-through hood. So you actually, the top of the hood either has plexiglass or carbonate, which you can see through to see the 6.4-liter. Very close tolerances on the front and rear bumper to give you ultimate approach and departure angles. They smoothed out and Frenched in the back half doors, so they made no handles on the exterior, and gave a little nod to jet fuel or race fuel only on the filler, which has not been relocated from the outside to right up underneath the roll cage. A really cool looking concept in a very nice burnt kind of burgundy color, which I'm used to on the old JKs. That's a very, very good looking color. I think it was actually called Chili Pepper Red on the TJ. They had that color as well. The last one we wanted to talk about was the Sideburn project, and that was the Gladiator. So that was the Jeep Gladiator project they brought out there. It's almost two-toned in an orange and a black, and that is running, I believe, 37s or maybe 40s on there. It's got swapped axles. It's got really nice high top or high line fender flares, but it's got the old school grille on it. So it's got the classic style JL and JT grille. And then the interior does look to also be kind of the classic style as well there. We've seen a lot of Gladiator concepts over the years. None of those really ever end up with anything. There was a really cool one last year where they actually Frenched in a Rotopax mount into the side of the bed. So they notched the bed out, it bolted in, it was flush with the rest of it. The one thing I will say with these high top fender flares, I have seen these now, the high top ones on this specific Jeep, in a few other models. It was on the Harbor Blue Jeep that we saw last year. It was on a couple other concepts from last year's Easter Jeep Safari. So hopefully Jeep might come out with a set of those high top fender flares. But one of the coolest things that we'd like to see from this year, we saw a lot. The biggest things I can take away are obviously the color, but then there were some things last year which I think we might see in the future. The one I'm most excited about is the Mopar grill guard. It almost looks like a full face mask from a football player's helmet, and it covers up all 7 of the slots as well as the grill, and it folds down to be able to use as a basket. If Jeep doesn't come out with this, I'm gonna have to call Joe down at Locked and Loaded. We're gonna bend some tube up and we're gonna make our own, because I want this on my Jeep so badly, to be able to fold it down, throw a cooler on there. If you guys are hunters, throw your game on there. Do whatever you want, sit on there, go on the beach. I think that is a great looking part, and from the looks of it, having it on 2 or 3 different vehicles, it looks very OEM, and it looks like it's gonna be done. So maybe we will see that in the future. And while we couldn't be there this year, honestly, I'm not as disappointed. You know, obviously we'd love to take a trip out to Utah and play around in the rocks for a while. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions though from guys that go out during Easter Jeep Safari and say it's almost too full when you get out there. All the trails are kind of tightened up and really jam-packed because everyone's doing the vendor rides. So you've all got group rides and you're trying to take photos and videos and get all your marketing done, which our friends at America's Most Wanted 4x4, they took a bunch of their rigs out. Ryan, maybe you can pop up some of their photos. Absolutely gorgeous. And I think if we went out there, you'd probably have enough B-roll to last us like 10 years. That is absolutely beautiful out there. Got a good friend, Tim. He just built a house in Utah, so we'll maybe have to crash at his place. Maybe go out there in the fall or a little bit cooler so we can really enjoy it. But either way, they brought 4 concepts out. We were hoping to see more, so I think it might have been a good thing that we didn't go. We could check them out online, but they only brought 4 concepts. I'm thinking this is temporary. Honestly, I think sales have to pick up a little bit for them to bring more vehicles and invest more into the concept program, because this costs a lot. And I'm sure that the guys that do this don't just do that for your full-time job. Like, this is probably a side project on top of being an engineer, designer, or something like that with FCA and Stellantis. So maybe next year we'll see some more. Hopefully we do, and I'm kind of looking forward to that as well, because we will be out there next year. That's kind of our plan, is to make the like 28, 26 hour drive out there. On today's Viewer Rig the video, we're checking out Paolo's 2023 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Extreme Recon. Now he's got a gorgeous looking Jeep with a metal cloak 3.5-inch lift, core 4x4 control arms, RSO shocks, and then the same bumper Ryan just put on the Motobilt Crusher HD. He's got some Motobilt rock sliders, KC highlights, KMC beadlock wheels, and the Nexen 37-inch tires. I can also see he's got the metal cloak rear control arm lower relocation, as well as the front lower location on the control arm mounts. So he's also running the American Adventure Lab light pods, which I was kind of looking at too. This is a really good looking Jeep, and honestly some great photography on there too. Looks like he gets out there and earns it and is in the dirt a heck of a lot with this Jeep, which I love to see. So Paolo, thanks so much for submitting. Great photos and great looking Jeep. If you guys want to have a chance at your Jeep being featured, be sure to hit us up through Instagram or send us an email. But another thing, if Jeep already doesn't hate us for posting all the news and the things that are coming out, we'd love to shoot some of the concept vehicles. Maybe if you guys know someone at Jeep and they'll invite us out to even Ohio, because I think it housed most of them in Toledo, we'd love to come out and kind of see that, maybe the vault, that vault that has all the concept vehicles. Brad from Trail Recon got to check it out, so let your boys from Dirt Road Craig come out and we'll check out those. Either way, we had some fun making this video today. We're still finalizing the shop. You guys can probably see we got some grills back there. My doors are off right now. A lot of cool content is coming up, and we can't wait to share it with you guys. Either way, if you guys wouldn't mind, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, do all that fun stuff. It really helps Matt, and it really helps Matt. Yeah, it helps me. It really helps Matt, yeah, talking about myself in third person. It helps support your boys here at Dirt Road Cred, and we can't appreciate it even more. You know, the only thing we don't appreciate are those nasty comments, which we're gonna start calling people out on the comment of the video and start posting them up with a free pass to AOAA, and we can play around. So either way, my name is Matt, Ryan's behind the camera, and we want you to get out there and earn yours.